Law number 13, the law of identity. Shared values define the team. Let me give you the difference between a personal value and an organization value. A personal value is something that influences and guides my behavior. In other words, there are certain values that I have in my personal life that those values influence me and guide me. They determine what kind of decisions I make. They determine what kind of behavior I have. They're values. They're personal values. They influence, they guide my personal life and behavior. An organization's value is something that influences and guides the team's behavior. Now, what I want you to understand about values is that they influence and they guide. We talked earlier on the laws of teamwork about the law of the big picture, which was a vision law. Now, when I speak of vision, I talk about the head of the organization. When I talk about values, I talk about the heart of the organization. Values are the heart and the soul of your company. They're what gives your company purpose and meaning and significance. It's truly why you work there. And so let me give you some tools and understanding of what values do for an organization and how they apply to the organization. So let's go to your notes. The values of an organization are like, first of all, glue. They hold an organization together. In other words, the values of your organization at this moment have the ability to keep you from being scattered or from falling apart. When a company goes through a crisis, when a company goes through a very difficult time, what allows that organization to continue to be strong is its values. And the moment that we understand what values do, we realize it's like glue that holds the organization together. Number two, the values of an organization are like a foundation. They provide stability for the company to grow. In fact, it's the foundation that allows the company to be built. So values are what you build your organization on. Number three, the values of an organization are like a ruler. They set the standard for the team's performance. It's from those values that you get your standard. Number four, the values of an organization are like a compass. They give direction and they give guidance. I think it was Roy Disney who said one time, it's not hard to make decisions when you know what your values are. But let me just turn it around. It's very hard to make decisions when you don't have any values. I mean, you're just kind of whippy and in the wind and just kind of go any way that I suppose the wind blows. Number five, the values of an organization are like a magnet. They attract like-minded people. You see, this is the law of identity. Basically, this is saying that the values define the team. So when your team has shared values, these values are being practiced, these values are being observed. So who is attracted to your organization? Like begets like. Birds of a feather flock together. So the people that are being attracted to your organization are people that have like values. So because values are displayed in behavior, they're easily seen, they're easily experienced, they're easily witnessed. And so when people witness those values and they see those values, there's a drawing to that organization of people that have like values. Number six, the values of an organization are like an identity. They define and they identify who the team really is. Now, I can get passionate about values, so let me just talk to you for a moment about one of the values of our company. We have 6 values in our Enjoy organization. But all I need to do is teach one. I don't need to teach 2, or I don't need to teach 3. One will get the point across. One of the values of the Enjoy group is that we truly want to add value to people. I said that in an earlier training tape today. My goal is to add value to people. When I go help somebody, when it's done, I want to say that I've been able to add value. If I've added value to them, I'm a happy person. So that is a personal value in my life. And because it's a personal value in my life, and because I'm a founder, and I'm an owner, and I'm a leader of an organization, that those values have bled through. And I've taught those values to my people. Basically, I've told them the only reason for us to exist is to add value to other people. And if we don't add value to someone, if we don't add value to an organization, if we don't add value to a company, if we don't add value to a congregation, if we don't add value to people, we really shouldn't be doing what we're doing. So let me share with you, when I was teaching this value to my organization, I shared with them 4 ways of how to add value to people. Remember, values are exhibited through behavior. So if adding value to people is a value of my organization, which it is, then I need to teach my people how to truly act out and behave and add value to people. And there are 4 things that you need to do to add value to people. I want to give those to you right now. Number 1. We add value to people when we truly value people. Now, isn't that simple? But it's powerful. Don't miss the statement. We add value to people when we truly value people. What I'm saying is this. If you or I don't truly value people, we truly won't add value to them. Can I tell you what happens when you don't value people? You take advantage of them. You use them for your means. You get all your motives impure in the process. You begin to manipulate. You begin to get into politics. You begin to play games with people. Your agenda gets real fuzzy. You see, you have to truly value people. If you don't truly value people, okay. You may add value to a person in an event or in a moment. But I'm not talking about events and moments. I'm talking about a lifestyle. I'm talking about my goal is to add value to Ron not only today, but tomorrow and next month and next year. And the only way that I can ever do that is if I truly value him as a person. Not value what he can do for me, not value what he's doing for his company, but just truly value him, period. Now, I'm going to give you the acid test to help you know if you truly value people. It's a very simple test. Don't answer it by any visible signs. Just go inside. It's easy, simple. It's a yes or a no. Here's the question. Do you add value to people that you do not know, or people that it's impossible for them to add value back to you? That's a major question. In other words, do you add value to people outside of your family? Outside of your company? Oh, of course you're adding value to somebody in the company, because if you can help them to go to a whole new level, they're going to help you to go to a whole new level. I'm not talking about that. Now, you want to do that. But how about the stranger or the person that you don't know? How is your behavior to people that you're never going to meet again, you're never going to see again? Do you truly value people? See, for leaders, this is a very important question. Because leaders are usually ahead of the pack. That's why they're leaders. They see a little farther, they sense a little bit more, they've got a little bit of edge, and we'll talk about that because that's a teamwork law. But because leaders are a little bit ahead, it's very easy for leaders to manipulate people or to use them for their advantage. And nothing is worse than a leader that manipulates people. Now, you motivate them, but don't manipulate them. When you motivate people, you move them together for mutual advantage. When you manipulate them, you move people together for your advantage. And there's a world difference between the two, so don't get them confused. Okay. So we add value to people when we truly value people. Number 2. We add value to people when we know and relate to what they value. Isn't that simple? Now, this is a relationship teaching point. The only way that you can truly add value to people is get to know them. Because the only way that I can truly know and relate to you, what's your name?
Paul.
Paul. The only way I can truly know and relate to you is to know what you dream about, know what you cry about, know what you sing about. In other words, when I can identify with those things, now I can relate and identify with you, and now I can add value to you. So what I'm saying is, there is no lasting value added to people without a healthy, sustained relationship. Has to be. You can only add value to people that you know and relate to. Number 3, you add value to people. Now, this is a value that we have in the Enjoy group. That's why I'm teaching. That's why I'm passionate about it. You add value to people when you make yourself more valuable. Let me explain that one. You add value to people when you make yourself more valuable. Let me illustrate. The only way that I can increasingly add value to you is by increasingly improving myself. Now, I asked earlier, how many of you read the 21 Irrefutable Laws of Leadership? Okay, now. How many of you are going to read the 17 Laws of Teamwork? Now, let me tell you something. Thank you very much. My wife and kids will be happy. Now, let me tell you something about whatever books you read, whatever tapes you listen to, whatever conferences you attend. The only way I can continually add value to you is to continue to grow. Think about this. I have to make myself more valuable because that's the only way that I can continually add value to you. In other words, you're loving this conference and I'm enjoying teaching it, but can I tell you something? You don't want to come back tomorrow and hear the same stuff again. Been there, done that. So you're going to enjoy the teamwork book. But can I tell you something about the teamwork book? Once it's done, you don't want to buy another one. You don't want to say, boy, that was so good, I think I'll buy another one just like it. Not for yourself. You see, the only way that I can continually add value to you is make myself more valuable. So when I was spending some time last summer with New York publishers who were working on my next book, and I was trying to decide which publisher I would go with. As I sat in my hotel in New York City, knowing I was going to see 4 major publishers the next morning, or the next day, I'm sitting there and I'm asking myself the question, what's the question they're going to ask me? And the question I thought a publisher would ask me was, if I was sitting down interviewing me about maybe publishing a Maxwell book, was, you've already written about 20 books. So I've got a question for you. Do you have any more books in you? Isn't that a good question? Or are you running out of gas? Are we getting an empty tank? So I sat down that night and I thought, how many books do I have in me? I don't know, but let it flow. 3 hours later, I have 7 books in me that haven't been birthed yet. Man, I looked at those 7 books. I said, my goodness, which one do I write next? And I was already writing 2 books, so I'm 9 books out. So the next day, when I went to the publishers and I'm sitting down, sure enough, the first New York publisher looked and said, John, we've read your stuff. We're very excited about potentially developing a relationship here, but we've got to ask you a question. You've written so many books. Do you have any more books in you? I said, I'm glad you asked. Are you ready to take notes? For the next 20 minutes, I walked around publishing boardroom in New York City, and I talked to them about the books that I haven't birthed yet, but the things that I'm thinking about, and gave them the titles and what the thesis was going to be of the books, and the essence of why I needed to teach this book and why people needed it and would help them grow. They got excited. You see, they got excited because, you see, they realized that as an author, I'm going to keep growing, I'm going to keep learning, I'm going to keep expanding. I'm not running out of gas. Let me put it this way. If you're leading your people and you run out of gas, the normal tendency when you run out of gas is to stop. Can you handle me intellectually? Brilliance just keeps oozing out. So here's the way this works. I'm leading my organization, and all of a sudden I run out of gas. I'm no longer leading my organization. I know all kinds of people in companies. They still have the position of a leader, but they quit leading a long time ago. Leaders are learners. And you add value to people by valuing people. You add value to people by knowing and relating to what they value. You add value to people by making yourself more valuable. And again, just excuse my personal faith a moment. You add value to people by doing the things that God values. I believe that's the only thing that's eternal. I believe everything else is wood, hay, and stubble. So last week I was in the Caribbean with Todd Duncan, who is a major teacher, trainer, leadership development for people that are mortgage professionals, and he had 75 presidents of companies in a room, and I spent a day with them. When I was done, I looked at Todd and I said, I got a question to ask you. Did I add value? Was it worth the expense? Todd gave me a big old grin. He's a big guy, tall guy, gave me a big hug and said, John, you have no idea what you've done for us. Okay, I can get on a plane. I can go home. I'm happy. I added value to people. It's a value in my life. I encourage you, as a team member, as a team, get together, sit together, and begin to outline what your personal values are and what your team values are. And listen to me very carefully. The only way that you can be successful on your team is when your personal values match the team values. When your personal values are out of whack with the team values, you may be on the team, but you won't be effective. That's the law of identity. Shared values define the team.